I'm here with Miss Audrey Assad. And
Hello.
is that proper to call you Assad, even though you're married now?
Yes, well, because professionally I still go by Assad.
Okay.
No, my legal last name will be Price very soon, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Great. Audrey Price. I like that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Very much.
So Audrey and I met, I guess, how time flies, 2 or 3 years ago?
At least. It's been 3 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at EMI, at the building there the first time. And then several of my friends that I really trust in the industry said, you guys need to get together and you'll really get along. And sure enough, we ended up having coffee at that place that you know about very well now if you read my blog and Twitter much, Merides. And we met there and we had coffee and had a great time. And sure enough, we found out that we are indeed kindred spirits in a lot of ways. And Audrey and I have talked very frankly about a lot of things, especially theology, and bantered back and forth. And then we've not only had those frank talks, and then she's been at Recreate conference to lead worship, and it's just been an incredible time. But she also has introduced something very fun to my life and relaxing, and that's hookah. I'd never hookah. And Audrey has she has a Syrian
Yes.
legacy, and so it's kind of a natural thing to her. But in the South, in Tennessee, in the Appalachians, it wasn't hookah; it was more like moonshine.
Right.
And since I
They do have the effects, though.
yeah, that's true.
Hookah's not as liable to knock you out for a couple days as moonshine might be, but
Yeah.
but
I think hookah's much better for the inside lining of your stomach than moonshine.
so too.
But then, right after she introduced me to hookah, all of a sudden this brown box without anything but my name on it mysteriously appeared at my front door. And I opened it up, and sure enough, there's a hookah. And it's direct from India, and it's by a lunatic that if you're a longtime CCM fan, then you'll recognize Matthew Ward, who sang with a group called Second Chapter of Acts, and who is a lunatic in his own right. And he sends me this hookah mysteriously. I was afraid to open it. I thought it was a bomb, Audrey. I thought it was going to blow up on me. But sure enough, I have that now and enjoy it and relax, and it's wonderful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And for all the wonderful theology. Yeah. So let's talk about your new recording, because I'm really excited about it. And just before we came on the air here, I was just listening to my favorite song on that album, which should not be a surprise to you if you know the last year or so of my life. It's called Lament. And that song, wow. Oh.
That's my
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you're
Maybe yeah. I love that song.
Yeah. And then I can't believe how fast lyrics get online. So I just Googled Audrey Assad lyrics to Lament, and boom, there it was. So it was really good for me. I know it's horrible, copyright issues, but it's really good for me to look at those lyrics alongside the song, and it really, I can't talk too much about that. So it's just really special, so thank you. Yeah,
Welcome.
powerful song.
Thank you.
And then of course I love Sparrow, and I love Slow. Those are 2 or 3 of my favorites. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful album, and we had a really fun time the other night having a party, a listening party for your album with some people from Austin, and
Cool.
we had a great time. We just had it on the Apple TV and just had your songs rotating. And
Thank you so much for doing that.
yeah,
Wish I could have been there. I'm sure
yeah,
it was
me
fun.
too. It would have been fun.
Not like I wish I could be at my own listening party. More like I wish I could be hanging out with you guys.
I know. I know.
I wish I could be there to listen to my songs.
Well, we did have special. We had some really great food and drink, so it was fun.
Good.
Okay, so I know, having lived in Nashville for so long, one of the big things that I've talked with many artists about is the sophomore jinx. You know, you do that first album, and your album was just such a beautiful thing. And then I've written everything I know, but that's not possible for you. It's just possible for some artists. Because one of the things, seriously, guys that one of the things I love about Audrey is she reads all the time and always has something new to think about and bring up. So how does that feel, that pressure for making the second record?
Well, what was crazy is that I felt like this was my first record, because the record I made in whenever it came out, like 2010, I think, The House Rebuilding, was so much experimentation. Like, I really didn't know myself as an artist at all yet, and that record was a part of finding that out, which was like to say that the songwriting and then the production, just kind of throwing spaghetti at every wall in sight. Like, does that work? Does this work? Does that work? And then, so making Heartfelt, it had felt like a practice swing, making The House Rebuilding, and making Heart felt like my first time at bat. So I actually felt and less pressure about this record than I do about the record that's upcoming, which has no name or, shape yet. But yeah. I feel more pressure about that record because I feel like it's my second record as someone who is doing something intentional. Where the first one was totally just like, well, just whatever, yeah, sure, like throw that instrument on there, or let's put the song on, why not, what the heck, And now it's just, Heart was much more like my brainchild than House Building was.
Nice.
So, I mean, it was scarier to put it out because I definitely had more invested in it emotionally than I had. So hearing people's reviews, and I cared more. I just cared more what people thought,
Yeah. Good. Was the instrumentation or the process different than the other recordings?
Yes. With House Rebuilding, I did it in LA in like 4 sections. So I'd fly out and do, some, and then fly back and fly in and out 3 or 4 times. Work with Marshall Altman, who also did Heart. Mm. But Marshall has since moved to Nashville. So what we did on this one was we rented out a studio in Asheville, North Carolina for a whole week. And I went there with the band, and we tracked everything kind of in-house. All of the songs themselves, with the exception of Sparrow, basically are live. The vocals are live on about half the record.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On Slow, on Lament, on Oh My Soul, and Breaking You. And I think one more, but I can't think of which one it would be. But yeah, we tried to do as much live as possible. Emotion over perfection, that was kind of our philosophy. Marshall Altman always says, never, what does he say? Never sacrifice, or you have to sacrifice perfection at the altar of truth. That's what he says about it. And so we tried to espouse that in the creation of this album. And it didn't go perfectly, but I mean, when does it ever? I just know it was much more kind of intense and involved than the first time, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so you told me your favorite song is Lament and then Slow. Why Lament? Why is that your favorite song? Honestly, it's the oldest. I wrote it before House Rebuilding was even recorded, so it's an old song. One of my first co-writes in Nashville with a guy named Pete Kipley, and it was just one of those experiences where the song sang itself a little bit. Like, we didn't have to work too hard to write it, which, not to say that makes it better, because definitely some of my favorite songs are the ones I've worked the hardest on, but in this case, it was just magical to me. I felt like it expressed myself like better than I had done in a long time, and since then I don't know if I've done as well expressing who I am and how I pray, and the way that I relate sort of to God, or the concept of home or heaven or any of those things. Lament really does like express that very freely, and I think musically it's one of the more adventurous things I've done. I mean, I love the end of it. When we tracked it, Jeremy Latito played drums, and we were in there live, like playing all the parts together, and we get to that out section, and he's doing this big crazy shuffly thing, and I was like in tears from his playing because it was so beautiful, and I thought, gosh, I could just leave the drums by themselves and I would be happy. I just love what he did. Yeah, so I think just
combination of music and theme, I feel like it really expresses me. So,
yeah. Yeah, and just on a personal note, I'm very thankful to you and Matt Marr for helping introduce me to really that theme of lament is something I saw as a kid in Lamentations, you know, but never read it really, and then never heard it in evangelical circles, and so now it's just this important part of my life. So I'm thankful for that, and really thankful for that song. It's beautiful.
I feel like I confuse people at shows sometimes. Like if I play, one particular time I played a show at a church and talked about lament, like the concept of lament, and how I wanted to like bring it back into the normal sort of Christian lexicon of words, you know, when it comes to worship or spirituality or whatever. And I said something to that effect, and something about like longing for home, and I was like, you know, I sort of asked rhetorically, do you know what I mean? Like to the audience, and some guy shouts out, maybe, you know, like he was just like, I don't think so. You didn't say Jesus yet. I don't think I understand. It's like, come on, I'm making a point here. But yeah, it's so funny because I think some people just, it's interesting because for every one of those, there's like 10 people who I meet who are like, that is what my heart, it's where my heart is. And I haven't been able or had the words, you know, and so I like to talk about it. I think most people need that, you know, they need that language.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and I think that's something really cool that your generation is helping my generation understand better, that it's okay to admit that fact, because sometimes it doesn't play too well on the television of Western Christianity. You know, who wants to see lament? Just want to see, I won.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if I could change anything at all about basically my whole art life, I think I'm just finally finding out that you can talk about spirituality and faith and God in terms that don't spell everything out, because you don't have to. I think I felt some pressure in the past to sort of be like, I have to spell out all of my beliefs in the 3.5 minute frame of this song, or else people will not understand. And I realize now that if you can't, or I should say, if you can sum up your beliefs in 3.5 minute song, then you believe something very small. And I prefer much more to defer to the idea that faith is mystery and very big, and God is it's like a deep ocean. And so if I in lament don't wrap up, you know, with a happy note at the end, but I know God will save me, or but I know that God is good at the end, it doesn't mean anything about my faith not being solid, or, you know. So I think I'm learning that now, and I, in the past, haven't written songs that way all the time. So I'll change it now. Oh, I guess I can't change it from before, but
yeah, I was surprised after hearing it live. I guess I heard it live and then heard it on the album. But wow, it's just the same song.
Yeah, way different.
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed. It was just different, and that's fine. But I understand. Thanks, Audrey. This has been really fun. And through the miracle of Skype, you know, you're sitting in LA and I'm here in Austin, and it's just a wonderful thing. And we're going to give away, Audrey wants to give away 30 or 40 things to you guys. And so we're just going to randomly pick any one of you who comment. And so we'll do that, and we'll team together to do that. And you're going to be really thrilled about what you hear. If you probably already heard it, but then you can give it to a friend and help them. So thanks
so much, Andy, for having me today.
Thanks.
You're welcome.